This little video is by way of a quick reply to a query I had the other day. I mentioned craft blades and surgical blades and what have you. I thought, well, I had a query from Alan, just as quick to describe it this way. Craft knife. That's a craft knife, and it uses Stanley blades, standard Stanley, they're reversible. And this one you can retract into the holder. Trouble is, got a little bit of movement there, so that's not too clever. There's one I bought at B&Q, grossly overpriced, but I thought it was a pocket arrangement. And that pulls out, and there was a blade guard, and uses the same blade, but again, a little bit of movement there, which is not wonderful. I saw this one in Aldi's. I thought it looked a bit futuristic, made by WorkZone, and I was intrigued by the action of it. You push the button and it comes up in a sort of parallel motion, but it's grossly over engineered, and it's a certain amount of movement in that one. It was just interesting, and it sits in the glove compartment of my car if I want to cut rope or something. But by far the best of all is a good old standard, been around for donkey's years, two-part die casting Stanley blade holder. You can keep blades within the handle and reverse them, and it's rock solid in there, and there's nothing that can really go wrong with that. Okay, the blade is exposed, but you know, if you're old enough to handle one of these, that's not a big problem. When I was young and made model aircrafts, balsa and tissue, used to use 1-inch razor blades. Well, things have moved on a little bit since then, and you can buy all sorts of craft knives. I haven't got one to hand at the moment, have I? Yes, I have. One there. This type of thing. You can put different blades in. They're not particularly cheap. Good alternative is surgical scalpels. These things. You can buy these in different sizes. Get the right size, but they're only $1.50 on eBay. And they've got like a little tuning fork arrangement. And you'll notice it's got a little slope on here. Well, you take your blade, and they usually come in packets like that, and they're usually sterile if they're surgical ones. Be careful, because they're extremely sharp, of course. Let's take this one out, open it up. Well, I've done two, that's why it was awkward. Just say be careful what you're doing. They're like razors. There we go. And there's our foot, which must align with that. Don't try and put it in with your hands. Use a pair of pliers, grab it about there, and place the tuning fork in the widest part. There. And slide it forward until it clicks, and this foot sits in there, and that's fitted, and it won't move. And these are sharper than actual razors, and when you do eventually lose the end, you can replace it, and it's just a question of taking an end of that with your pliers, lifting it up slightly and going forward. Then you can replace the blade. The blades come in different types, and that's the smaller one. So you have to get the blade to fit your holder. They all work exactly the same principle of the springiness in that fitting in the holder. So I hope I've given you a little bit of insight into the use of these. These things are so cheap it's not true. There are people who ask silly prices for half a dozen of them, but you can buy packets like that and they're literally pennies. Go to a surgical supplier. They're far cheaper than craft supplier. Anyway, just a quick one. I hope you found that useful. Bye for now. for now.